Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm your host, MegaRotor31. This video is going to be for the Xfinity race. It's going to be our speculation video. We've done pretty well with the speculation videos for the truck. They are going to be in Portland. It's going to be a road race. Hopefully they all can make it out to Portland. I know some of the Alpha Prime haulers got stuck in traffic and were well behind. I believe they've made it there at this point. But this is a unique standalone race because the Truck Series and the Cup Series are in Illinois/St. Louis at Gateway, and then this is going to be a road course isolated event. So because it's a standalone event, that my guess is that there's going to be no live pitting. So they usually stop the race at the end of stages and at certain points to allow them to do the pit work, because they don't have their normal pit crews there, because usually Xfinity sometimes borrows from like a Truck or Cup Series or whatever other series at the same track with them. Like some people have their own, but some of the lower budget teams have to usually borrow or get helped out. So this way it doesn't make them at a huge competitive disadvantage for that. So, and we've seen this in the truck race too. It's similar to what they did with the dirt race in Bristol too, where they just kind of stopped the race, did the pit work. So I believe you can go in and get gas if you have to, but I believe for tire changes, unless you have a flat, then you can only change the tires at a certain point in time. So again, we haven't had practice or qualifying yet. It's going to be same day practice and qualifying. It is a road course. They have run here, I believe, last year. So some of these drivers have seen it. So if you see the C column here where it says in, if there's a green X next to their name, that means that their track data is from last year. If you see it in the peach, it means that it is their track data from Circuit of the Americas, the only road course that Xfinity's run this year. If you see a yellow next to their X, then that means it's Watkins Glen data from last year, which is a true road course also. And Leland Honeyman has not run any races on a road course. So that's why he has the red X. If you look at the colors on the names, when I do road courses, the blues are generally people that are better than average on road courses. I'm not necessarily saying that they're elite plays, but I'm saying that they're better than the average driver. They are proficient on road courses. The ones that are in the brown are what we call kind of road course ringers. They're guys that they bring in that are pretty much specialists on road courses, even though Myatt Snyder has run in Xfinity before, but he is brought in specifically for this road course. And then the ones in yellow are not normal Xfinity drivers. They do have some road course experience, but I wouldn't necessarily call them ringers. So again, what did I do? How did I figure this out? I took their season data, and then I took track history from recent road courses that are comparable. So if they ran here last year, I took that one. Again, it's only one race sample size. So it's usually track history is like either 20 to 30% of the score for the projection. This week I knocked it down to about 20%, because it's what really I think I want to look at is their track average of similar real road courses. When I say real road courses, I consider Watkins Glen, Sonoma, Circuit of the Americas, tracks like that. This is an actual road course. I don't really consider, like when they set up a road course at the Daytona track or the Roval in Charlotte or the Indy one where it's a super speedway, it's got a different feel, and I think different drivers excel in those. So I don't really think that it's comparable. So I really looked at what I consider true road courses. So Circuit of America, Road America, Portland, Watkins Glen that they've run recently, and that's how I figure out the formula. I looked at their average starting position for the year, and that's how we got the starting order. Again, this is not official data. It's going to be same day practice and qualifying tomorrow. So they'll get a little bit of practice on the road course, then they'll do qualifying, and then probably do an impound, some final inspections, and then they'll race probably 3 or 4 hours later. So it's a very limited window. Also have a truck race early tomorrow. The truck race, they did have practice and qualifying tonight, and I'll do a separate video for that in the morning tomorrow for that. So we will have accurate information for that. For this one, you're just going to have to come and check back in the video after practice and qualifying, and maybe if I have time, I'll throw some updated notes. But if you want the true actual projections and everything once the qualifying order is set, then you can go to the description of the video, sign up for our package at FSi DFS. It is only $5 a week. It is only, I believe, $10 or $15 for a month. It is really cheap. And last week was such a disaster in Charlotte that everybody signed up for the whole week package. We gave them a free week this week just because last week was just a test of patience with all the rain and the races starting and stuff. It just wasn't a very enjoyable experience for a GFS perspective. One of a friend of the show and loyal viewer actually did quite well there in tied for like the top GPP there with some other people. So congratulations to you. You know who you are. And thanks for watching. So let's get to this race. So the data would have Cole Custer starting first here. And his data, he was in Cup last year. So this year he came down to Xfinity. And so I looked at his data for Circuits of the America. And the remarkable thing too about like every single driver here is nobody's ever won a road course race. Road course races in Xfinity were won last year. This race was won by AJ Allmendinger last year, who's in Cup. Ty Gibbs won a bunch of them. Some of the ringers came down, like Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson, and they won some of them. And you know, I think like going back, like Austin Cindric won some of them. Noah Gragson won some of them. So it's guys that have progressed out. So nobody here has like a win on a road course. But there are still some decent road course drivers. So Cole Custer starts at the top, and again, he's got a pretty decent history on road courses, but it comes back in fifth. So I think I'm going to start him as a GPP because even though I feel he's proficient, I looked at what he did at Circuit of America this year, the most relevant one, and I don't really feel that he was that dominant. So I'm a little apprehensive to play him. Justin Allgaier, really like here. Did well last year. I think he finished third or fourth. He's up there in the top 5. He comes back number 2 overall with actually he finished 5th because if I look at the track average, one race, I can read my old numbers. So it looks like he finished 5th here last year. Circuit of Americas did well. Like all the numbers look pretty well for like his average. So Justin Allgaier is definitely be somebody to consider in cash. Sheldon Creed, I also like on road courses. He seems to be pretty proficient here, even though he didn't finish the race last year here, got the DNF. I think that he'll be do well and run pretty good here. I like the price of 8,400. Did really well at Circuit of America. So if he can stop, not run into anything or go off the course, then I think with a little bit of practice and stuff, he'll be good. Austin Hill really struggled at Coda. I think he had a mechanical problem with the car. He struggled with Watkins Glen, but he was really good in Portland last year here. He's been good on road courses. So I think you can play him in cash. I think maybe if people like our box score watching, looks like he finished 3rd here last year, are they might be off of him just because of if they look back at Coda and Watkins Glen numbers and see his overall composites 18, but I think he's definitely in play here. Chandler Smith did not run here last year. He comes up 8th, 12th place finish at Circuit of America. So I think he's definitely in play in cash. Also, this is the car that won it last year, and it is the Colleague Racing stable, and I don't know if AJ Allmendinger has had some chance to like talk to him, but the crew chiefs, there's got to be some people on the team that kind of maybe explain to him like what the setup was for last year and like some of the things. Like AJ Allmendinger is just super uber talented when it comes to road courses. Probably a generational talent in road courses. And I know Chandler Smith is definitely not AJ Allmendinger, but maybe he did pick up some of the tips of the trade from him or the team. Riley Herbst is decent. I think he's a little underrated on road courses. Struggled here last year, finished 35th, didn't finish the race. But Road America, Watkins Glen was decent, was okay at Circuit America, but comes 6th overall compared to all the drivers in composite. So I think he can be in play in a GPP. Jordan Taylor has only raced once. He did race Watkins Glen last year. He did race Circuit of the Americas in a cup car. And he comes in this 10 colleague car, which is kind of like the all-star car that they've rotated people in and out of. A little expensive, 9,300, but not enough practice, but he is definitely a road course ringer. And, you know, if he messes up qualifying and he doesn't start too high up, I think he's going to be a great play. Even if he does, I think at 9,300, if you can get him in your lineup, definitely someone to consider. Sammy Smith is probably my favorite driver here in the Joe Gibbs camp. Just the numbers come back in number 1 overall in composite average. He finished 4th in Circuit of the America. But even just looking back at like all his like road course driving, he's just been really good at it. So at 9,700, I don't care where he starts in the field. I'm definitely probably going to be locking him in. John-Hunter Nemechek is a really good driver, but he's been okay on road courses. Like his average is like 30th among everybody. If I look at all the numbers, you didn't race here last year. Even like going back to his truck series, like he was just like outside the top 10 in like his average finishes. So nothing really shows me that he's super proficient at road course racing. Circuit of America was okay. Like I said, his average running position was good, but he finished like 27th. So I think he's a GPP. I'm not paying. He's the most expensive driver here, and I don't understand that. It's not like he's a road course like king or anything. So probably GPP for fade for me, unless he starts like dead last or something, and has a lot of place differential, because that's something. There's only 75 laps here, so you're really not looking for dominator points. You really want to treat this maybe like a plate race, and if it's going to be tough to pass, so you'll just have to see how that works in like practice and qualifying. But you really are probably looking for place differential more than anything here, and some guys that you know are going to finish good up top. Daniel Hemrick, GPP, not bad on road courses. I finished 6th here last year, 11th overall. So, you know, if he's outside the top 10, then I think, you know, I'd like him a little bit better, 7,800. But if he's inside the top 10 for starting position, not as super interested, unless he's got like a blazing fast car and is on the pole. Again, he's in the colleague. He's got Taylor there, who is a road course guy. And again, I mentioned like AJ Allmendinger is part of the team, so maybe he picks up some tips from him there. Sam Mayer, I think, is in a cash play here. If you take out Portland last year, which was an absolute disaster, finished dead last. Other than that, he's been 7th overall. So I think that if he starts again outside the top 10, I think that he's somebody that you consider. Josh Berry is another solid play here, 3rd overall in composite. If you look at the average running positions, his finishes have been much better than the average running positions for most of his races. So he did race here last year. He finished 4th. And even though like his average running position was in the teens, he put himself in the position to finish well in most of the other road course races. I can't give him a prime, but I think of the 10K guys here, besides Allgaier, I think he's the one I would consider the most. Allgaier is probably the first one I'd have, but if I don't like something about Allgaier, I think Barry's a definitely nice pivot if you can get up to the 10K range. Myatt Snyder really liked this play here. He's in the 19 Joe Gibbs Racing All-Star car here. Road America last year wasn't great, but Watkins Glen looked good. Portland last year finished 2nd in a Jordan Anderson car. It led a bunch of laps here, so it was a pretty good day for him. So I definitely look for him to do well here. 8,100 is a great price. He's in great equipment. He's proven himself. So I really like him, and I think he's one of my favorite plays on the board here. Brandon Jones is always a GPP. He's boom or bust at these road courses, even though he comes back fourth overall composite, finished 11th here last year. He's just too up and down and sometimes too overly aggressive, and that can get him like squeezed or run into somebody off the course, bend a fender, or cut a tire, end up in the gravel. So I just kind of apprehensive to play him here. Parker Retzlaff just seems to do well everywhere. Again, the Jordan Anderson car finished second last year, so I think might be the car. So I think he's definitely in play. Circuit of America didn't look great for him. 23rd overall running, finished in the top 20. So if Parker starts outside the top 20, I think that's where you really want to look to play him in a GPP. If he starts too high, then I think that he can get passed by others and he'll just lose you place differential. And that's what you don't want to happen here. Jeb Burton, 7,200. Another success, has had success at road courses. He's not super proficient at it. Again, this Jordan Anderson racing team has been pretty good with that. I think you're looking at like another 20th place car. Same thing as Retzlaff. If they both start outside the top 20, there's some place differential there. I definitely would lock them in for cash. If not, I think they're GPP play. Brett Moffitt, I'm the Brett Moffitt whisperer, and this is a fade here. I know he looked good at Portland last year with an 8th overall running position, but he finished the race 20th. He got into trouble late. He looked terrible at Road America. He didn't look great at Coda, and he comes back 35th overall, which is down towards the bottom of composite. So I am out on Brett Moffitt. Parker Kligerman, especially in the truck race, like there were times in COVID where he'd enter a road course race and he'd have to start dead last, and he'd be up like challenging for the lead. So Parker Kligerman is a very good road course driver. At 9,200 is a really good price for him. Just he wasn't here last year. Circuit of America, 15th overall running position. His finishes haven't been great, but if this big machine racing car, if he can keep it clean and everything, definitely like him for a place differential guy. He gets it. He can pass people. If he starts in the top 15, I might be off of him. But, if he starts 15th on down, especially if he starts way down for some reason, then love Parker Kligerman. Preston Pardis, same thing, is a really good road course driver, but he's in a really bad car. So I just fear the car might like break down here. If you look at his composites and everything, I think that kind of reflects it. Like everything says that he should like finish top 25, but just outside the top 20. So if he starts 25th on back and you want somebody cheap for fill in your lineup for a little bit of place differential with some potential upside, if the car holds up, I think he's a good play. Anthony Alfredo, I just always worry about the car here. Road America last year didn't look great. Finished 31st here, and that was in an even better equipment in our motorsports car. So I just don't think road course driving is his thing. So he's GPP to fade for me. Ryan Sieg, GPP, road course racing, just again is not his thing either. He managed the 16th here last year. His composite's 14th. So again, I guess if he finishes, that's kind of my target there. If he starts the race 14th on down, then I think he'd be more in play potentially for cash, but I think he's GPP. Josh Williams is actually a decent road course driver. Like his just cars have been terrible, but this 92 has been decent this year. So 22nd overall. So again, I think if he starts outside the top 20, if you're looking for a value play, a GPP fill-in, that he would be one for you. Jeremy Clements is very good at road courses. 10th overall running average, 10th overall in composite, all things considered, with all the tracks that they've run here, and finishes. I know he didn't do great here last year. He finished 28th, but that's just actually 34th, but it was and he didn't finish the race, but it was a one race sample size. it really, my model here has him getting 13 place different points, actually finishing the top 10, which I think is a little far-fetched, but I think he definitely has top 15 upside. So if he starts outside the top 15, I think he's definitely in play here. From what I've seen, good at road courses, solid car, and 67 is a nice price tag. Connor Mosaic doesn't have I don't know. He's a decent young driver, but he ran at Coda. He finished 18th. So again, I think if he's outside the top 20, you can consider him. Sam Hunt Racing is decent. I'd rather take his teammate Kaz Grala, although he's like 1,200 more and probably priced in no man's land at 8,800, unless you're trying to save a little bit from the upper tier to try to get better lower tier drivers in. Watkins Glen ran really well last year. Dakota finished 18th. So again, I think he's one, same thing like with Connor. If they start outside the top 20 or close to the 20th position, then I think they're decent. Kaz Grala should be able to hold his ground too. So I don't know if I start him in the top 10. If he's in the top 15, he's probably a GPP play, but anywhere from 20 to 15, I think is a sweet spot. Anything further on down is just absolute gravy for you. Joe Graff Jr. can't keep a car on a oval. Lord help him on a road course. So he's going to be a fade for me. And just look at his numbers, they're abysmal. Kyle Sieg, GPP, not as good as his brother. If he starts 25th on back, then I think he's okay. Leland Honeyman, Alpha Prime Racing, like such a distraction trying to get the cars out there. So they haven't had the garage time on them. Hopefully they'll have enough time to make up and get everything on the course and everything, but he's got no road course experience. He only has 2 races that he's driven in Xfinity and his 25th overall finish. So just too many things for me here. Lack of experience in all aspects. I'm just gonna be a fade for me. Brandon Poole, same thing. Like Brandon Poole has had some decent runs recently, but they've been oval. I don't really consider him a great road course driver. So I have 38th overall, like dead last in composite. So ran at the Circuit of the Americas, didn't even finish the race. So this might be a start in park. So not super interested here. I don't know if the car can hold up on the road course. Alex Labay, really like him here. He's a very, very good road course driver in the 91 DGM car. If you take out Washington last year, his overall like running position is usually in the 14th or so. Last year he finished 10th here in the top 10. I don't care where he qualifies here. $7,000. Give me some Alex Labay all day. Stefan Parsons, another green light racing car that kind of concerns me here. I got him as GPP. 7 seems to hold up better than the 8 this year, but nothing super special. He did run the race here last year, finished 24th. So I mean, if you need a punt in a GPP in the 5K range, either he or Kyle Sieg will probably be the one that you'd want. Dylan Luplo, again, this Alpha Prime team. Like he's run some road courses, could potentially get up to 20. Decent driver. That's why he priced at 7,400. Might be in no man's land. If there's no distraction or anything, if practice looks good and he qualifies decently, it doesn't look like there's any tech issues or setup issues with like the cars not getting out there and having no garage time, then I think he can definitely be in playing cash. Parker Chase is a GPP. These Emmer and Gase cars have just been slow and just nothing really pops for me there. Garrett Smithley is a fade, 4 races on at Circuit of America. He's never raced in this course here. A fade for me in this 4. Jeffrey Earnhardt, another Alpha Prime guy, not a great road course guy either. So GPP, just depending on where he starts. Same thing with Perkins and Emmeling, not really interested in. Matt Jasko potentially. Hasn't run a ton, but this 66 car usually doesn't even qualify. So they took 38 cars last week. If they take 38 cars, he might make it in, but he might not even qualify for this race. So if he does, I mean, Jaskell's a decent one, but I just don't know if he's going to get anything out of this car. It's just it's just a shame because I'd like to see Joss go on a different ride. I think he could definitely make an impact, but I just worry about the 66 car that's going to be a starting park. So that's what I got for you. Again, I'm going to start my lineup with Sammy Smith, Matt Snyder, LeBay. I'm going to see if I can get some of the higher price guys in, like Allgaier, Hill, Barry are ones that I really like. In the mid-range, guys like, Preston Pardis with his experience, Kaz Grala, Jeremy Clements to kind of fill in. But once they do the practice and qualifying tomorrow, it's going to give us a better picture. So if I do have time, I will put some notes in the video. So check back about hour before lock to see if I update anything on that. Or like I said, you can sign up for FSi DFS, and for just $5, it gets you the whole weekend, all 3 races. You'll get the up-to-date information on this. So appreciate everybody watching the video. If these videos are helpful to you, then please help us back by liking the video, subscribing to our channel so you know when the videos come out, and sharing them with your friends, which everybody's been doing a great job because we continue to grow in viewership and in people subscribing to the channel. So really continue to appreciate that. Come so far in the last couple of years, and just help us continue to get the message out there. And it's a lot of work putting all these things together, but when I see that we have 400, 500, 600 people watching the video and comments that we help people, and seeing like last week somebody tying for first place in the main GPP and winning a significant amount of money, then all the hours we put in trying to break these things down, even though we don't have the data, just to try to get the information out to you, it's just so worth it. So appreciate you watching. Good luck in your contest. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Stay tuned for the Truck and Cup video. And if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Put them in the chat below. Hit me up at MegaRuler31 on Twitter. And I'll see you next time.